Hello and welcome back, all of our Starseeds and Envoys viewers. I'm Kevin Kane, returning to you here with Sherrie to talk more about paranormal happenings and Starseed Envoy news. Uh, we'd like to invite you, as usual, to our websites and or Facebook pages so you can find out more about us, or if you need to contact for more information. My website is myhauntedDolls.com, where you can find out about my haunted collection back here behind me and the books I've written. Those books are available for autographs, purchases on the website, or you can just get them on Amazon, Kindle, and other online book retailers. And I also have my YouTube link out there for My Haunted Dolls on YouTube. And now I kick it over to Sherrie so she can introduce herself as well.
Hey everybody, I'm Sherrie. You can find me at Facebook at Spiritual Awakening, Starseeds /Envoys, also Creepy Dolls and Paranormal Experience, and also Creepy Places and the Paranormal. And it is actually April 28th, 2026. Tomorrow's my birthday. Woo-hoo!
Oh, early happy birthday. Yeah, I was about to say that. I was looking at the date, and I'm glad you got that in.
Yep.
And our links will be in the description below. And I was pointing down because you'll see some of the titles popping up here, our locations. And we are just having a good day here. We have rain and thunder outside. I don't know if you can hear it on my headset though, but we have a little stormy weather here tonight. And
we've had it all day.
We had rain all day. Now we've got the thunder, and that always makes me pay more attention to my collection behind me. Today's haunted doll, we usually introduce a haunted doll, and I will introduce my famous doll here. And we don't have a name for him, I don't think. I've been calling him Mannequin Baby. He actually has been featured on Travel Channel on the show, not Ghost Hunters, but when Jason Hawes and Steve Gonzalez and Dave Tango came to Travel Channel, they first started with Ghost Nation. And there's an episode about Gettysburg where this little fella right here was included. He used to be in a Gettysburg antique store right on the battlefield. And the lady and her husband who ran the store also had a house right next door. Both locations were reported to be haunted. Although the creepiest thing I saw was in the attic of the house. Jason stumbled across some shedded snake skin and had to warn them, I don't know if that's paranormal, but be sure to have somebody come in and look for that. You don't want snakes rolling around your house. But other than the apparitions and noises they reported, as far as this doll, the lady claimed that she would see that doll turn its head and stare at her when she would come into the store. She had him on display there. So Jason put a camera on him all night long, and they caught no movement. But at the end of the originally aired episode, before the credits, they ran a little additional scene where the lady and her husband were sitting on the stairs with this doll, and she was begging, if anybody will purchase this little baby, that's my finger, not a ghost. If anybody will purchase this little baby and get him off our hands, we would appreciate it. So you know me, I got on there on my Facebook and pulled up their store's Facebook and messaged them. And I thought, yeah, right. What chances do I have to get it? But she actually responded later that night and said, you're first come, so you're going to be first served. And I had to wait 6 months for the Travel Channel contract to run out before they could change any of their property or remove anything in case they needed to reshoot. And of course, by then the episode had already aired, but they still had that length of time. And as soon as the contract ended, I got him. And the first week or so I had him, I've not seen him move, but I heard a tapping on the glass back there. And I looked around. I was sitting here and I didn't see anything. And I watched him a while. And I put a live YouTube camera on him one night, and he didn't move, but for some reason we could hear the sound of a little dog yipping, that yip, 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 yip in here. And my cat does not bark or yip. She just meows. So either we have a dog ghost here or there's one attached to that dog, because I'd never heard that before. So and you can see that episode of Ghost Nation. It's Ghosts of Gettysburg, I think they called it, and they have it out there on YouTube. I think on Discover Plus. If you have that app on your TV, you can find it. And now I see a little head on Sherrie's side there. Do you have a
Yeah,
doll too?
I do. Excuse me, everyone. I got a cough because we got a chicken sanctuary and there's feathers everywhere, and it's just not agreeing with me today. So I'm coughing and I have the cough drop. So I keep muting myself, and so I don't cough all over the show. um, this is this is Faye. I got her. Speaking of our sanctuary, he wanted to be on camera. So anyway, this is a doll. She's about like 27 inches, and she's vinyl and hard plastic. Her body. I guess he wants to take over the show. So anyway, I got her. Well, as soon as I seen her, I knew, oh, I got to get her. And she definitely has, how do you say? You can feel her essence of her. When I seen her, I definitely seen, how, I don't know, it was something about her that I felt like, oh yeah, I got to have her. And I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to get her, but I did. I got her. And the story with her was that she actually came from a lady, an elderly lady. Oh my God, I'm competing with the chicken. She came from an elderly lady that actually was in a nursing home, and she had this doll until she passed. Supposedly, they said that I guess she lost her daughter a while back. Oh my God. She lost her daughter, and I guess she thought that the spirit was in this doll. So she never left the doll. The doll was always with her until she did pass. And after that, they gathered her things, of course, and then sold whatever. And I just happened to see this doll, and they put it on some website, and I bought her. And she definitely has, when you're around her, you can definitely feel her. And I think you've seen her before and been here. You were here. I think it was one.
Oh, definitely.
There's times that I go in the doll room at night and I'll just view and take pictures or like a video, and I'll play music and stuff, and just to show off the collection and stuff like that. And I'll post it on YouTube. And I guess one of those times when I was going through the whole room and just doing that, I guess she had moved. And I guess when I posted, the video, I put it, and it's not like a big move, but it was a subtle little move that you could see if you were to pay attention. And I posted it on Creepy Dolls, and people, especially one of my good friends, came back to me and she goes, that your doll died. I mean, that your doll had moved at so and so seconds into the film. And I was just like, and so I went back and I was like, because I didn't see, because it was dark for one, and I was just going and panning around, through the whole collection. We'll post the link for it, underneath, so people can check it out. But anyway, I guess it had blown up. I guess that footage actually got on a lot of the top 10 haunted dolls and top 5, top 20. It went viral. And then on top of that, then I got a call from Josh Gates' manager, and wanted to use that small footage of her for the opening of the Island of the Dolls. which was Destination. No, was it Destination Unknown? No, Expedition Unknown. Sorry, he
Expedition
had, he
Unknown.
had, yeah, he had Destination Unknown the first, and then
Yes.
he changed it, and it's Expedition Unknown. So the first one was Destination Unknown, and that was actually with the Island of the Dolls. And then we did it with Expedition Unknown, and then he did another some more footage at the he took another visit to the Island of the Dolls, and he wanted to use her as an opening for it. So, which was, I was shocked. I was like, oh, okay. So, but she's a beautiful doll. She does have a strong sense to her when you're around her. People that have seen her, as soon as they see her, they're like, holy crap. It's kind of like Harry and Chaz. She has a strong essence that comes off her, a spirit type. And I love the doll. I think she's just beautiful. I have heard singing around her or humming, and obviously she moved, so but she just has a very strong presence with her. So a beautiful doll. I love her. And I thought I would show her so for the haunted show. So
That is awesome. And yes, I did see her. I've seen her a couple of times when I've been over there. And I remember one time she was sitting next to the TV in that add-on room that you all built.
yes, the family
And
room.
she watched TV, and there she is beside the TV with her little hand up.
And it's funny too, because I actually that's where she likes to be. So I put her in there,
Mhm.
and I actually got her from there. She'll go right back to by the TV. She likes to be in the family room. So
Yeah, I do have some here, like behind me. Well, first of all, for room, because I'm running out of room, but these particularly I put here. Yeah, because I think they like to watch TV. In fact, one of them was facing one direction. Which one are you? Oh, it was you? Yeah, the little blonde one here. But now she's turned facing the window. She was facing the TV. So I guess she faces whichever way she wants to look. She loves the window. But yeah, they like this area. And I just recently, I don't know anything about this, but I just was watching her. I found this at an antique store a couple of weeks ago. Little creepy little girl with white
now
eyes. It's
is
a
it
statue.
oh, okay, that's what I was going to ask. Is it a statue?
Yeah.
It looks like a statue, but I
Yeah.
couldn't tell by the lighting.
And I'm pretty sure that's wood. That's some beautiful carving, though, very detailed, but it feels like wood painted.
Wow.
And yeah, she's beautiful. And those white eyes are what the light's making it too bright, but you can see her white eyes, just solid white. And she was staring at me when I came down the aisle. I said, okay, I'm going to take her home with me. So if I find out more about her later, I'll introduce her. In fact, when I went around the aisle, I looked at her and I went around the aisle and I felt this strong pull, and you probably have had that before. Like, you're not leaving without me. So I had to go back and get her.
It's a calling.
But yes, a calling. That's a good way to put it. And I get that a lot in antiques. Some antique stores I've been in, because I'm at least partially sensitive. I don't see solid apparitions anymore like I was as a child, but I still get the fleeting stuff, and I hear partial voices. But when I go in an antique store, sometimes with all that old vintage stuff, it's like just this tidal wave of energy. I get dizzy, and I've been told
The energy is really strong.
Yeah. I was told by other sensitive that's it. You're picking up on, some of them have either attachments or residual energy left behind that it's just all of it together in one big room. It's overwhelming.
That and historical energy. Historical energy is very strong. So it's even if there's nothing there per se, there's a lot of energy that you can pick up on, and that's where you can start kind of figuring out the time period, and you can even see people that have been around the doll or feelings. You can pick up on all kinds of patterns or frequencies. So it's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Chicken.
Sometimes I gotten looking at something and concentrating. I've gotten pictures in my mind, and sometimes, uh, almost like a video or just a still image in my head of somebody. And I've been told by people in paranormal that sort of talked to me about, guided me on that and say, when something pops into your head, don't second guess it like that.
Right.
But the first thing that comes to your head is probably what you're getting, because sometimes other energy confuses me, or I get second guess myself and start thinking what I want to think. And they're like, just
Mm.
whatever pops in your head instantly, that's probably what it is.
Right. Right. I think
And
that's a lot of times a lot of us. I think especially if you're psychic or empath, we always wonder, did I just think that, or was it something that came to me? We second guess ourselves.
mhm,
And what I've learned as as I've gotten older is that the more I work with those energies, the more I realize, and especially when I'm talking to my guides or store family or whatever, that's where it is very. They tell me, do not second guess. What comes in, just relax and let it flow. Don't sit there and try to dissect it and all that. Just let it come and just let it go. Just kind of go with the flow, and then you can. The more you relax when
mhm.
you're doing that, when you're picking up energy and information, the easier it's going to be. The more you sit there and start to try to analyze it, forget it.
Yeah,
You break the signal, the
it's
channel.
gone.
So it's best to just really let it come and flow.
Hmm.
So, but that's it's easier said than done. So you just got to work at it, and that's where meditation really really helps.
Mm.
The more you meditate, the more you can practice being in that state of open and relaxed. And again, it's done. It depends on what's all going around, around your area.
Mhm.
Because there's a lot of noise, so to speak. People, check-ins, just all kinds of stuff.
Check-ins, yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
had
it makes it very chaotic.
two of my most memorable, and one of them was when I was a young adult and first moved out on my own. Uh, of solid apparitions is one morning I woke up and I second guessed myself, but looking back, I knew then I just didn't want to believe it. But I was elementary school age, and I had barely remembered my great grandmother on my mother's side. I remember I was probably a toddler when she passed away, and I barely remembered her, which is surprising. Most people don't remember toddler stuff. But I remember her holding me in her lap, and she was a little scary looking to me because she was a very old lady, and her mouth was tucked in from years of chewing tobacco. Women used to
Oh
chew tobacco
wow.
back in the day,
Mhm.
and I realized later, well, that was just your great grandmother holding you in her lap. But I woke up one morning, broad daylight. I woke up in my childhood home there in my bed, and my eyes came open, and I looked over, and there was a woman standing there, very similar to her, except the face was normal. But her hair was in that up in that same ball, and she was a little older, but not with the tobacco tucked in mouth. And this all happened in seconds. I looked up at her, and she was looking down at me, and she goes, and she did her hand like that over my eyes. And
Mhm.
next thing I know, I'm opening my eyes again. I was like, what? What? And then I thought, well, I must have just been dreaming that I was waking up. But that stayed with me, and now that I look back, I wonder. Well, I know for sure that was her watching over me, and she didn't mean for me to see her.
She
Hence
didn't
the
want to scare you.
and covering my eyes like that. I remember her hand coming. And then later on in my young adult years, living in my first apartment, I woke up in the middle of the night and sat up and looked. In a similar instance, there was this older, middle-aged looking lady with her hair short, but kind of not a beehive, but just kind of a bouffant style, like in the '60s. She had on
Mhm.
a black dress and top, but little flower designs, and it wasn't a solid dress. It was like a shirt with a dress under it. And she's looking at me, and I thought I saw a hood, but I think it was just energy coming off of her. But I look up in time to see her look at me, and she goes, and then she turned like this and then vanished. And I'm rubbing my eyes, and that reminded me of the childhood thing. At that moment, I said, "This time I'm not second guessing. I think I just saw somebody watching me," and they disappeared when I woke up. And didn't even think about it. Went to my parents' house a few weeks later, and my mother had out her old family pictures, old Polaroids and things from the 70s. Um, and she had one with the lady in it that was the exact same woman I saw, and down to the same outfit. And I realized looking at her, except in this picture I could see her face better. I said, "That's your mom, isn't it, Mom?" She said, "Yeah, that was my grandmother, her mother, who passed away before I was ever born. So I never knew her, unfortunately. I will one day in the other life, but I didn't get to know her in this life. She died 2 years before I was born from a botched 1 day surgery when they accidentally overdosed her. And my mother,
Yeesh.
that's another story. My mother was angry with my granddaddy for not suing. He was old Christian. No, don't
Mhm.
sue, don't sue, don't buy a dog. But she went in for simple surgery. She was in good health, and they killed her basically. So, but that was
Awful.
her. She matched up in that picture, except and with the hair too. But I could see the. I didn't see her face clearly other than the mouth go, and she turned and vanished really quick. But in the picture, she's wearing her glasses, and you could tell it was the same woman. And I said, "Well, dang, she must have been coming to look after me." And I've
It makes
sensed
me
her
wonder
around.
if that's what she died in. I mean, if they, how they have clothes and stuff like that,
I didn't think about
so
that. Maybe.
you know, maybe she, because a lot of times when they go to funeral homes and all that, they get their best, and then they have
Oh yeah.
somebody to come in and do their hair, do their makeup, all that stuff, and
And they put the
it,
clothes.
yeah, and if they're older, a lot of times you'll see them when they're younger. It's kind of like the Dolores Cannon thing, and actually, I've seen
Hmm.
family members the same thing when they appear to me. They're younger, so because you don't take the old body into that, but they know what
Hmm.
they look like, and they know what their family members are that are still on Earth. So they're not going to
Hmm.
appear to you as some stranger. They're going to appear to you the way they used to be in their youth, or as you know
Hmm.
them, put that way. So if they're really young, sometimes they, if you're not going to know them, they might appear a little bit older. Something that you can, know them by,
Hmm.
and like some stranger or something. But occasionally, I've heard people say, "I've seen so and so, and it was Papa or whatever," and they'll describe them, and they
Hmm.
say, "No, didn't have glasses, didn't have this, didn't have that," and they'll have to go look in their book of photos and find them when they're younger.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. When mom passed, she started out when at first looking like right before, but then from there to the funeral, when I would see her, she was getting younger and younger. And
mhm,
last time I saw like that, saw her at the funeral, she was when she was like 21.
mhm.
I'd seen pictures of her, and it was goodbye from there, at least physically. I know she'll come around every once in a while. I just don't, and I knew I wouldn't see her physically again.
Well, their
But
time period too in the other, when you leave Earth, it's linear here. When you go out of that space, it's not linear. So they could be gone a day, and to us, it would be like 30 years. I mean,
mhm,
it's there's a lot of stuff that, especially right now with all the people that get abducted, so to speak, they call it 20 and back, where they're gone for like 20 years doing missions, and then they come back, but put them back in the same time that they took them. So, but they have that 20 years of somewhere else where they were older, but yet they put them back. Say if they took them when they were like 15, well, then and they take you for 20 years, that would make you what, 25, 35, but yet they put you back in a 15-year-old body, with that experience. So it's just kind of really weird. So again, time is different, when you leave this third 3D realm, so to speak. So it's just you know, even like like I said, when you get out of this 3D,
Hmm.
they say like your past, future, all of it's all going on at the same time. And but when you come down to the 3D down here, it's you got your past and you got your future. I mean, you got your past, present, future. But bottom line is they say that in order to you should live in the now. You should live in the
Hmm.
moment. When you do, that's where you have all the magic is right there. If you live in the past, then your mind, then you're thinking about, you're not going forward. You're not thinking in the moment. You're most powerful when you're in the moment. So time is all with you. The universe is with you.
Hmm.
So I don't know. I just know that time. We're going to find out. With
Yeah.
disclosure about all the time and how it's used, and time travel. Just all of that wild stuff. It's not what people think, and just the whole. It's kind of like, I hate to say it, bring the elephant. Talk about the elephant in the room. The David Wilcock. you
Oh,
know,
yes.
with all that, there's a lot. There's a lot there. I mean, did you know too much about David Wilcock? I mean, I followed him for years.
I did not. I know I had seen that name before multiple times, probably because I used to, and still I tune in sometimes, but I used to watch a lot of the shows that would come on Travel Channel. I'm pretty sure on the ones dealing with UFOs and aliens that they had
Yeah,
had him mentioned, maybe even interviewed. I'd seen his face before.
yeah, he was a
Never got.
scientist.
Yes, I never got to see him at conventions. Some conventions, especially if it's sci-fi oriented, not only do they get celebrity like actors, but they'll get celebrity like scientists and authors and experts. I don't think I saw him. If I did, I forgot. But I definitely have seen him on TV interviews, things like that.
He was a very very interesting person, and they said that excuse me. There's a lot, with the Edgar Casey, because he looked a lot like Edgar Casey, and they said some people say that he's the reincarnation. He actually did a book on it, and I just watched actually before we came on. I watched something with Dr. Michael Sala, a piece on David Wilcock. It was very, very, very. I think it was one of his. I think it was in 2015 or something like that. Um, Maybe it was earlier, but he was in Hawaii or something, or maybe it was like in the 2000s. But anyway, it was a really good show. It was about an hour and a half, and it was the first, I guess, documentary. And he was at a seminar. I'll send it to you, but it was really,
Okay.
really good. And but I've been following him for years. And but his first book, I don't know if it was his first book, but it was one of his books. He does go into to the Edgar Casey reincarnation and there's he did quite a bit of research and hypnosis and stuff like that where he came to that conclusion, and for a lot of reasons, and it was very very interesting. But I used to watch him every Sunday. I didn't say every, but a lot of Sundays I did, because he would stay on there for hours. I mean, this was all for free to help humanity. I mean, this is an amazing person. Um, and he would always say, just like everybody, he'd always say, I would never kill myself. A lot of people that knew that they were being watched say, I would never kill myself. But yet, when they pass or they go missing, the first thing that comes out of the media's mouth is, "Oh, he killed himself," or "She killed
Hmm.
himself." Bullshit. Oh, sorry, but anyway, but it's just, but people are so, how do you say, so brainwashed and programmed, so you just get compliant with whatever anybody says in the media. Oh, he did this, oh, he did that. They can say whatever they want when somebody passes, just like history. Same thing. If they annihilated the opponent, oh, we can just make up whatever we want, and people will just say okay, and just And it's really sad. That's part of the programming, part of the brainwashing, and that's used through the TV, the radio. I mean, just all of it, through the entertainment industry, movies, all of it is to condition us to be compliant, and they show you what they're doing, but they put it as sci-fi or whatever. And then we just kind of just go, okay, and if, when we say okay, we're saying we're okay with them doing what they're doing to us, so we're compliant. So they kind of get away with it. And I would think that it would be different now. We're in 2026. We're very close to disclosures. I mean, stuff's been coming out as it is. And when somebody, like right now, we got all these scientists, going missing, or they have, supposedly suicide. Well, there's a lot that, as far as staged, I mean, there's a lot of people in the we call it the WPP, Witness Protection Program,
Yes.
that were entertainers. And so the people that you think are alive are dead, and the people that are alive, wait a minute, did I say that right? The people that you think are dead are alive, and the people that are alive are dead, something like that. And so, and right now we're just watching a whole show of crap, and everybody's just, I barely watch news because I think it's BS. It's just,
Yeah.
and I go from my core, as far as when I'm learning stuff from a spiritual point. I will pick up on stuff to see people are fed, basically. But like David Wilcock, I actually just came out of meditation. I heard it, and I was thinking, is this real? So the first thing I did was I went into, I got my twisted, excuse me, a little reading to see if he is alive or dead, to see if it's true. My tarot card said, he's definitely, this is what they said, that he's alive, but he's hidden. So to me, I was thinking, okay, that's just so strange, so this kind of reminds me of the Charlie Kirk. Same thing. I remember I came out of meditation into that. My sister was calling me because she was freaking out. And my sister was, so I finally said, okay, I'm going to have to cut this meditation short, and just pick up the phone. And I picked it up, and she was flipping out. I mean, I had to bring her back off the edge, so to speak, because she had seen it, because you've seen the Charlie Kirk video.
Yeah, it's the day of. They still had it out there where I guess they were filming live and you saw it.
Yeah. But what's funny is that the whole thing, well, let me get to the point with this. As soon as I seen that, something in my gut told me this isn't what it looks like. And I felt that out of my gut. And like I said, I just came out of meditation, and I told my sister, don't believe everything you see. I said, I had to pull her, like I said, literally pull her back off the cliff. And I said, do some research. I said, but this does not look right. Something's not right with this. And as soon as I started doing some research myself, but something in my gut was saying this is not true. Now, it's funny because 3 nights before, close to the full moon, 3 nights before that, I actually had a dream that said, it's funny, the dream was telling me about 3 roads. One road was the cabal. The other road was the white hats. Then there was the middle road. In the dream, I'm looking at what was obvious, the cabal area. And then on the other side, it was the white hat area. And they were basically, and it's funny too, because the one with the cabal had like cattle. It was like on a big land of cattle, just a lot of cattle. And then there was like 3 Jewish people, that were in charge of this cattle. And then on the other side, you had people, and they were white hats, and it was a bunch of people. They all had money, and they were all like, wanting to buy whatever this was, the White Hats were doing. And then there was this middle road. I walked past the cabal. I'm like, no, thank you. And then I looked at this, and it's funny because I started to take the middle road, and I was with somebody. I was taking the middle road. I said, I'm not taking that either. And I looked down, and I had some money, and I pulled it out. I'm like, oh, that's funny. I guess my dad had given me some money in my purse. And I pulled it out, and I was looking at the people. They had money in their hand, just shaking it, like they wanted to buy what was these people in the front, which were the White Hats, were buying. I mean, selling. And so I got my money and I put it back in my purse. And everybody was looking at me like, why aren't you buying it? And they were like, look at me. And I'm like, I'm not buying that. And I just kept walking the middle road. So basically, the dream was telling me, you're going to see two versions of what's going on. But I took the middle road, and because I didn't believe any of it. And this happened 3 days before the Charlie Kirk had, supposedly was murdered, which I don't think he was. I don't care what anybody says, but this is just my opinion. Everybody can believe what they want. It's free. It's a free world. It's free. You can believe whatever you want to believe. But for me, I don't believe it. I'm sorry. I just don't. And I found very few people that I've seen that, I kind of watch or follow, some people call it, that felt the same way. I was pleasantly surprised, but even a lot of supposedly psychic people were just completely off. And I'm thinking, and some people were saying that they were channeling them, and I'm thinking, okay, I wonder what you're channeling, but I don't know. So again, everybody just, we all have our experiences, and we all believe the way, to be genuine to yourself, you just got to believe in what you feel is right. Everybody, but then it comes right down to, what do you believe inside? And for me, I just don't buy it. And then I've seen a lot of stuff of why it wasn't. I seen a lot of what I would call, it wasn't proof, 100% proof, but there was a lot of stuff that kind of added up to where I felt like, for me, right, that for me, this is all part of the show. I mean, there's so much going on with the show, and Trump keeps saying it. And that's not the real Trump either. The real Trump is hidden. I mean, the real Trump is with his family. I mean, because we got clones and all this other stuff, and these synthetics and all this other, crap. So the real one is in Cheyenne Mountain or wherever, under a base that's protected. He's before any of this started coming out, like in 2021, they were saying that isolated. He is safe, and he will be safe until this all blows over. And we were going to be watching a movie, and it came out of Trump, as well, that we were going to be watching a movie. They had to show us. Well, they've been showing us. They've been fighting a lot of, all this crazy war, not just here down on Earth, but also upstairs, which is, the galactic the stuff's crazy crap. And people, you just got to, people really got to use their intuition, just use your, don't be so easy to just take the word of these people. I don't care who they are, cabal, white hats, or whatever. Use your intuition, your gut, your soul. Listen. A lot of people don't listen. They're too busy with all the noise out here. As far as David Wilcock and all these scientists, I personally don't think I don't think he's dead. I really don't. I think he's with the other scientists. All these scientists, there's a lot that they're supposed to do for humanity in the golden age. And whether the white hats or even the galactics, took them for safety to have them work on what's supposed to be for the future, I guess we will find out, soon. But I personally think that they are in the witness protection program, along with a lot of the other people. So there has been so much, all the information I've been finding out, and not just information that, I do the research to find it, but also intuitively, psychically, I'm also seeing it. I see visions. I have lucid dreaming. I get downloads in the know of some, things, it's just, to me, it's kind of obvious, but to others, it's not. And I don't judge anybody. I just would hope that people, that's by not being weak and not really looking and questioning. That's my biggest thing. Just question. Don't automatically, when someone says something, don't automatically just say, okay. Just say, interesting. I think I'll just, do a little research on that. Don't just, it's kind of like, being in a marriage. It sounds kind of weird. Kind of being in a marriage and they cheat on you 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 constantly. But they say, but I'm going to change. How do you know they're not going to cheat on you? You have to build that trust again. You can't just automatically just believe somebody because they said something about it. You just got to go, for me, it's like going on the inside and just go within and listen to your higher self, which is connected to source, which is connected to God, because we are a spark, we are a fractal of God. So, I don't know. It just, all this stuff, it's just kind of, I think earlier before we came on, I was really ranting and raving, but I said, I'm not going to try. I'm going to try to be nice. I'm not going to be bitchy. So it's just, I don't know. It's, for me, since of all the lies that we've been going through about the past and all our history, it just gets to me that they're still doing this. They just, the white hats or whoever is just saying, oh, this happened. And everybody's like, okay. I'm like, this is how we got here in the first place, by just, giving our power away and just believing anything that they say. I mean, this is a movie. I mean, Trump is saying code all the time. That's an actor. That's a this. That's a that. That's a rap. Just like, give me a break. Anyway, I'll get off my soapbox.
Well, I know you mentioned you recently had a dream related to the star
Yeah.
seed.
Oh, God.
Definitely would love to hear about that.
I did. I had a dream. I had a lucid dream this morning. But before that dream, I'm going to go back to 2 days ago. I was in meditation, and towards my end of the meditation, I had a vision. It was really weird. I guess I was in my backyard, because it looked like my backyard, the trees, being in Georgia, there's a lot of trees. And we're out in the country. So, but in the vision, I was looking at these trees, and I looked like at the tree line above, and I seen a small ship. Now I felt there was another one coming around the bend from, behind other trees, but I seen two of them. And I just remember looking up, and I was thinking, and it was just only for a few seconds, I seen that. And it was in my, my backyard. And I was like, and then all of a sudden that was it. And I was just like, okay, what's that about? Okay, well, this morning I had a dream. And it's funny because we had lightning and thunder going on this morning. I woke up late because it looked like it was 7 or 6 o'clock, but like around, like, I don't know, 9:30, 10. But I slept in. And while I was sleeping in, I was having this lucid dream. And the dream was where we were in the doll room, but all the dolls weren't there. And you and I were talking. And I was on the phone talking to one of my friends named Jen. And she said, you need to look outside. I don't even know how she could even see it because she's on my phone, but she could see for some reason. So she said, you need to look outside. She goes, there's spaceships. And I'm like, spaceships? And I'm looking at you, and we're just talking, but I don't remember the conversation. We were just talking. And so I looked out at the window, and I seen these lights coming from the ships, and they were just kind of looking all over the place. And I was like, oh my God. I'm like, I have to go outside. It could be Sashion. So I'm running outside, and it's just really weird. I remember all of a sudden the lights hit me, and I was thinking, the lights were hitting me from the ships, and it was blinding me, and all I could say was Sashion, Sashion, and all of a sudden I woke up, and I was like, that was really weird. I just thought it was really strange, and that the two, the vision of the two ships, and then there was two ships in this dream, this lucid dream. So I thought it was really just kind of wow. So I know I feel my star husband's been, well, he's always around me, and I always hear him because we have telepathy, but I feel him a lot closer. And probably the last 2 weeks, I felt my higher self tell me what I need to do is I need to focus and be closer to him. So, and not listen to all the noise, because there's a lot of stuff going on, whether it be in the world or my friends or my family, or, just a lot of stuff, just to not listen to all the noise, but in sync with him. And I've been having a lot of synchronicities, a lot. It's really weird. I keep seeing 1111 or 111, and I'm, things that he tells me, I'll hear it on TV or hear it on the like radio, and it's really weird. And then I think there's one morning I woke up and I was thinking of him, and when I was thinking of him, the Alexa, when I wake up in the morning, before I get up, I just say, Alexa, 70s, and she'll play, the same thing over and over, of 70s or whatever. And then all of a sudden I was laying there and I was thinking about my Sashion, my star husband. And all of a sudden Starman comes on with David Bowie. Never, ever. And I haven't heard it on that radio since, on that ever since, but Starman. And I was like, I started crying. I was like, oh my God, because they can have, when they're trying to communicate to you, whether it's through, talking to you, or through visions, or through your body, or even they'll put like a symbol or something they want you to. They'll think it, and then you get it. You they transmit it to you.
Yeah.
So you can see an image. But they could also send music, which has happened a lot. And I know when I hear it, I feel them. I feel him, I feel it in my heart. I could feel it all over my body. I get actually goosebumps, and it's like something moves through me. It blows my mind. But yeah, I was really surprised that came on when I was thinking about him, and all of a sudden that came on. I started tearing up, and I have not heard that song since then on Alexa. It was just really odd. And now I did, you can find it on YouTube and all that. So, but it was just, there's things that happen like that synchronicities. I'll, like, before I go to bed, we'll kind of watch something. He just likes whatever I do. He will hang out with me, and the stuff that's on TV he'll say something to me, whether it be that day or that week, or he'll say it over and over. And then all of a sudden on TV, same thing, or he'll send me an image, and then I'll see the image on TV or something. And it's just so weird. It's like, how could that? So that's a synchronicity. Or I'll get pictures of stuff, like on YouTube or on the computer, things that I didn't seek out, but come my way for whatever reason. So it's just really weird. Nothing is ever by accident, because everything that we do is in the moment, and is orchestrated through the universe. And when you know how to work with the universe, with that, then you can start doing, you tap into synchronicities. So it's just very interesting that, the whole thing about that, how I've been having that quite a bit lately. A lot more in the past 2 weeks. It's been just pretty wild, and it makes me tear up sometimes. So it's like,
Well, that is amazing. I have not had. I already talked about the dream I had a couple episodes ago, where I was driving a truck and got shot in the head and woke up. So yeah, I can imagine how. I understand how that is, and you feel like later that wasn't just a dream. That was like a message. Someone's telling me something, or it's
it's like a reality, because that's what it is. I think
reality.
that's the difference between lucid dreaming. It's it's really happening, but it's in another dimension. You
Hmm.
know, whereas the dream, sometimes you can tell this is a dream. The dream is, you're doing something or working something out or whatever. It's different. It's different when you're having a lucid dream. You are aware. This is really happening. You have your thought. It's like your conscious is in your subconscious
Yes.
when you're awake. And the colors, that's another thing. The colors are really extreme. So I've seen colors that are so vibrant. Nothing that I've seen on this earth is like that. And so when I go into these different realities, I mean, I've been in different realities where I've been on different planets, and I wake up in a different avatar. And when I
Hmm.
know that I'm awake, when I awaken into that state, I'm like, I start looking at myself and like my arms and my legs. Look for a mirror or a reflection so I can see what see what I look like. You still
Uh-huh.
have the same features, but it could be altered. And I think I like I said, I think I mentioned this before. I've seen like 6 different avatars that I've been in. It's really
Oh.
crazy. And some of the, you know, I think there was one planet that I came on. The colors were just so intense. I mean, they're just very, almost so vibrant, almost like you need to wear sunglasses. It's so vibrant.
Hmm.
I mean, they wouldn't hurt your eyes, like, eye popping, just very colorful. Um, I think there was another planet that we were above when we were in a mothership, because I was in a mothership. And I remember looking over a planet, and this planet was glowing. The water was glowing. It was almost like neon type of colors, kind of. I think that's the right word, neon, where it kind of glows. So
Yeah.
it was,
It's
yeah, like lights or something. But
yeah.
so
Neon
it's
lights. Yeah. It's. I think that's
yeah,
the right word.
yeah, so it is really weird. So it's just different experiences, and a lot of these things I just write in my book. I write in my dream book and just log it down. Um, but it's not stuff that you could really tell very many people. People wouldn't understand it. Most people don't understand stuff like that. I barely understand it, so much less tell somebody else, unless they're spiritual and are experiencing other things like that. Um, I think probably people that astral project, out of body experience,
Hmm.
would probably have some of the, and they practice spiritual stuff in eating. I think a lot of how you eat, as well as meditating on a regular basis, your whole lifestyle, it helps. I wouldn't say you can't do it without it, but I think it really helps for you to evolve, as far as to tap into those higher realms, and especially to connect or align, to be in alignment with your higher self, because that's when you start to see all these things. It's, it's everybody's different.
Hmm.
Like I said, I know I'm an old soul. I feel it. And a lot of things have been coming lately. Like, I don't know. I'm having a lot of oh, how do you say? I think I mentioned this before, but I feel a lot of stuff coming close. Like I feel a lot of like stuff from underneath. Like I don't know if it's inner Earth coming up. I feel the fairy realm coming closer. I feel the galactics coming closer. I could feel the frequencies coming closer. Like the timelines are coming together instead of a whole bunch of them. So different realities are kind of coming together. I don't know, just kind of interesting. I feel that, and I have this thing lately. I don't know what is going on, but I'm having this thing about mermaids.
Oh,
so so I'm having this
mermaids.
whole thing. I'm like being called everywhere to watch mermaid shows or movies or whatever, and I just think that's really odd. My sister was telling me that she feels that she was a mermaid. Now there is a planet that it has mostly water, and I kind of remember that because I have dreams a lot of times of oceans and stuff. And I think I've talked to other envoys that said the same thing, that they feel that they were, in one life that they, or in, maybe many lives that they water, they were a mermaid with their twin flame. It's very, very possible because I feel that that's possible with me and my star husband. So I don't know. I know that I feel that, since I'm an old soul, I feel like I'm not just in this universe, but in other universes from higher up. And I feel like I've lived all over the place and just kind of been everywhere. I remember Sirius B. I don't know why, but that's a really strong thing for me. And the same thing with the sun. There's something about the sun. I used to have dreams when I was little, like these sun people. I think I mentioned that before. Um,
I think so.
Beings from the sun, and the sun actually is a portal, from going in from different universes. So I don't know. There's just all this stuff. There's so much information, and it's all over the place. It's like a broken puzzle, and it's not put together. But that there's pieces all over the place, and it kind of makes sense, but you can't put it. It's not all put together. So we're just kind of just like, this puzzle. I know that piece is over here, and that piece is over there, and that piece is over there, but we need to put all this together. So, because it makes sense, but it doesn't. So it's like we're just trying to, the more we find out about ourselves, I'm interested in finding out who I am. Just because I know I've woken up doesn't mean I have all the answers. I still have amnesia like everybody. I know that I've had certain lives and stuff, and I know I've had many lives, but I don't know all of them. I've met other beings from other planets that I've talked to in meditation that know me by my soul, and they know that I don't remember because Earth is the place where you forget, and we're in this end times. We're here to try to remember and to bring up the frequency of the planet and everyone on it, for ascension. So that's kind of what David Wilcock was. He was helping to raise the frequency of the planet and to help in ascension. He was all about ascension. So, the Bible they talk about the end times and how, heaven on earth, and all. It's just another term for ascension. Like I said, I've had ascension dreams of me transforming. I've seen animals transforming. I've had dreams of ascension for the animals, for the planet, where everybody's turning. Like the sea life was actually, they were changing, and some of them didn't even have to be in the water. They could be above the water flying. It was just really wild, very, very wild. And again, the colors were extremely, very bright, very colorful. So, it's just, dreams tell us a lot of things if you pay attention. You got your dreams, and then you got the lucid dreamings, which is another dimensional reality. So, and they all tell us something. And also, you could get other beings speaking to you in that reality, in the lucid dreaming, or kind of like an astral, so, which is that twilight thing that I was telling you about. You're not fully asleep, but you're not fully awake. You're in between. And I know as Wiccans, we talked about the twilight. Wiccans, when you're a Wiccan, um, the most powerful place is twilight. It's kind of where it's sundown and like when the sun's going down. It's in between the sun going down. It's like that in between. It's a very thin window, and they call it the twilight because it's in between worlds, and magic can be created there. Doors can be open. So, and it's kind of true when you are coming out of sleep, like when you're asleep because you're astraling, basically. You're asleep and you wake up, but you're not fully awake. So that's a small window of when a lot of stuff, if you're aware, you can talk to other beings. You can talk to people that have passed on the other side. You can see visions, a lot of visions. You can see a lot of stuff. Just very, interesting. So again, the more you know, the more aware you are, and the more you know, the more you can kind of perceive it and tap into that. Know who you are and know your surroundings and so forth.
Oh yeah, and I don't like to ignore dreams. Some things I dreamed that last night. Um, Yesterday was kind of a rough day at work. Uh, Me and
Mm.
my senior manager had to discuss a problem we had with the work of an employee, and kind of went back and forth. So I was a little upset. I mean, we weren't upset at each other, but I was a little upset at the situation that shouldn't have
Right.
happened. And still learning as a new manager. But then I turned around. We had talked about a few episodes ago. We mentioned on here that Patty Duke ghost movie called Grave Secrets: The Legacy of Hilltop Drive, about
Mm-hmm.
the neighborhood built on top of the
Gravesite.
old unmarked graves of the African
Mm-hmm.
American community that was just down the hill. And that was on. It's the full movie is still on YouTube. But it just happened to come up on my. I get that recommended video list every day, and it came up. I said, "Oh, they still have it." So I watched it last night, and it was
Oh,
weird
cool.
because this morning I had a dream combining those two things. I had a dream I was in our local haunted museum slash library down. It's not it's local, but it's like 30-minute drive from here. I'm there for some reason working, talking to my boss. In the same room, they're having some sort of reception for I don't know what. And I'm trying to talk to my boss on virtual like this. When I work remote at home, I talk to everybody. On Zoom. We use Microsoft Teams, but it's like Zoom. And the ghosts keep messing with the laptop, and she's believing it. Which I don't know if in real life she would believe that, but she's believing it. I'm thinking I'm going to get fired because my meeting keeps dropping. And I'm coming back on, showing, "Oh, Kevin, oh," and I get up and I get upset with the people at reception. Your ghosts keep messing with me, so I have to go find somewhere else. And there's just noise everywhere, and my meeting keeps getting messed up. My headset, for some reason, keeps getting twisted around my head. My laptop folded, and and I woke up
Just having a
and
bad
I,
day.
and I said, it's all. I forgot about the laptop folding. I just remember that it was like it turned into rubber. I'm like, what's going on with this thing? I can't open it. And that I knew. I just say that to say I know some dreams I wake up. It's just a combo of crap I'm going through mixed with I watched that movie last night and that stuck in my head. But then there's like what you're talking about, where I have a dream where like one of my little spirits, Patty, my first haunted doll ever, and I've shown her on here a few weeks ago.
Mhm.
I remember saying to her, "I'd love to see you," because I caught a glimpse of her in the mirror and behind me at my old house not long after I first got her doll. I knew it was her. Um, and she was on there for only there for a brief second, and she would talk to me on the spirit box a little bit. called me daddy and said, I love you. And I knew from the story that, well, it's a real thing, it's not a fake story, but I knew from the background that came with the doll and the real Patty that she didn't have a father. So I felt like she was looking to me as her spirit daddy. But I
Right.
remember telling her I would love to see you and just hug you and all of this. And then one night, it was one of those where you kind of go through a series of dreams. And the last dream before I woke up,
Yep.
um, I'm with this little blonde girl playing around. She's just laughing, and we're out in the. You were talking about bright colors. It was like a fall day. There's all these colorful leaves, bright sun, and we're in a park. There's other people, but I knew that this was not real. That this was a dream. It wasn't one of those things where you wake up going, "Oh man, I thought that was real." You know, I knew it was a dream, but yet it wasn't. I'm looking at this little girl,
It
and
was
I
real.
knew. I said, "This is Patty. She's
Hmm.
granting my wish." So
Yeah,
I
you
got
were
to,
in another dimension.
yeah, I got to hug her and, all that good stuff. And I think I could even smell the little sweet baby shampoo smell in her hair.
Hmm.
And although I don't think her mother took care of her like that in life, but in the spirit
Right.
world, she got to have what she didn't have. Now
Hmm.
she has a spirit daddy too. So I know that was her. And I remember too looking back at it, that's how she looked in the mirror behind me with the sort of semi short curly blonde hair coming kind of down here and like an age frame of 5 to 7, which was what I believe she was 7. Um, but yeah, so I can understand what you're talking about with
Yeah, that's kind of like a lucid dream
the lucid dream. I was
because
trying to
you're in
remember
a
what.
different, yeah, lucid dream. Yeah, it's very, it's a different reality. It's another dimension. So it's
Mhm.
really happening. The only difference is that you're aware of it. So you're
Yes.
awake. So your conscious is going into your subconscious and you're awake. A lot of times, when we sleep, everybody astral projects. They just don't realize it. I mean, when you go to sleep and then you're dreaming, sometimes your dreams are from stress or from the day or whatever. Maybe you watched a bad movie or something and that's in
Hmm.
your head. But then when you have lucid dreaming, or you start, the lucid dreaming, you start to see, um, you could see different and it's almost to the extent of astral, because you are astraling. Sometimes when you're really, when the lucid dreaming, it's just a different reality. So you're there in a different reality. But then you have the astral dreams where you're literally flying, and you're doing all kinds of stuff, and you can travel with others. You can time travel back
Hmm.
or forward or wherever, or just in different worlds. You could be at the same time and just travel in different worlds. But it's and so the astral traveling is still very similar. It's just different things with the like when you're astral traveling, but like in a lucid dream, it's kind of like you're in a different reality and you're not flying around. You're playing out a different dimension with other people. So it's kind of hard to explain. You have to kind of be in it and do it quite a bit
Hmm.
to know that there's a difference and stuff. But I think you know what I'm talking about because you were in that different reality,
Yeah.
with Patty.
And
So and, yeah, I'll call it lucid dreaming.
now that you mention it, I didn't even thought about it, but I have had dreams where I'm sort of hovering, not flying Superman, but like I'm hovering. Now,
Yeah.
and yet in the quote unquote dream, yet it's making sense. I'm not surprised that I'm floating, which is weird. Now that I look back at
Yeah,
it, it wasn't like a shock, like oh, I'm flying.
right.
So
Well,
now, now,
yeah, because what you're actually doing is, the astral body can fly. It can't because you're
hmm,
not. You don't. It's a different type of density, but you have the power to fly and to go back in time and do all this other
hmm,
stuff, or you can walk around. It's just like whatever. Because you don't have this density of a body to weigh you down. So in your astral, if you're in the dream or if you're just kind of, I don't know, doing whatever, You can
Hmm.
be floating, and you're not going to be afraid. You're just kind of like, oh, this is kind of interesting. Or you could even just be
Yeah.
viewing other people. You can be observing other people, like you're in the dream, but you're not. You're observing them.
Hmm.
It's kind of weird. I've done that before. Um, but in that state, you could also see visions as well. So
Yes.
there's a lot of power in that realm. So I think it's just really interesting. The more I do it, and I get, when I wake up, I'm like, oh my God, where's my book? I have to write it down, because it's cool. Before I used to hate astro project, because of my experience in the past, being attacked. It's like I
Oh
didn't want
yeah.
anything to do with it. But once I got over that, and I realized who I am and where my power is and all that, and not to mention the not just the 3D realm, but also in the astral, that's also being cleaned up too. There's a lot that's being cleaned up all around. I'm not saying that it's all gone, but for the most part, I think knowing who you are, because like I said, we've all been astral projecting. It's just that we're unaware of it. But when you start becoming aware, and the more you are, uh, like for me, I go through great lengths to do what my higher self suggests. Is to reach those higher, you know, um, to be evolved, the higher states of being evolved. And my thing is because I feel that call to do that, because I'm here for a reason. I remember being called, hearing the call of source to come down here to be incarnated and to help in the end times of the transition. So, and this is part of it. We are in that right now. So, I feel that I have that everything I need to do all has to do with the spiritual. It has to be to higher my frequency as much as possible, to listen to my higher self, to align with my higher self, which also I feel my galactic family and my galactic husband and da 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 da. So all of that is part of the package. And when we go into that transition, that ascension, I'll be with my star family, my star husband, and all that. And then we'll be able to carry on more of what we are going to do for, uh, the, what is it? The world, the golden age,
Hmm.
um, for the galactics, because Earth is going to be part of the galactic family, at this point.
Yes.
So we've, been isolated for way too long, and we were mind controlled and all this other crap, and slaves. So now all the chains literally are breaking, and we are, we all have God within us, and we all are co-creators with source, with God. So it's time for us all to awaken, and all of us to be united. And that's the bottom line. So, and we have to tear off all the programming, all the brainwashing, all of that stuff. But there's a lot of good stuff that's coming in the future. There's so much wonderful things. I can't really wait. So it's just, of course, we have to go through this little transition of craziness, you know, still going through this horrible, disgusting movie. I'm over it. I think I'm sick of the popcorn. Blech. I don't want any more of it. I just go to the new age, and you
Yeah.
know, no more popcorn, no more crappy movie. I want to throw
Yeah.
tomatoes at it.
Well, we've come past the hour now, so we've got a nice long
Wow!
episode here, and
Yay!
that's a great place to end it. Tired of the movie. Let's go. so,
Blah.
so we appreciate everybody who's tuning in and watching. Be sure to share these episodes and invite others to come watch. And we'll have our links below, like we mentioned early on in the episode, to look at My Haunted Dolls and with Cherie's Creepy Dolls and Paranormal Experience, and definitely Spiritual Awakening, Starseed / Envoys. Is that it? I said it
Yep,
right.
that's it.
And there's another,
Yep.
what was the other creepy
Uh,
Facebook?
creepy places, and the paranormal.
Yes, I need to make sure to link that one. So we'll be back again hopefully in a few weeks to talk more about it. And if there's any updates, to talk about updates to the paranormal happenings and Starseeds Envoys. So until then, happy hauntings and see you upstairs. All right, goodbye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.